Hello, beautiful listeners, and Happy New Year. I'm so happy to have you back listening to me for hopefully what is going to be another year. We have much to discuss over the coming 365 days, many more things for me to read and to watch, and big dreams are going to be fulfilled this year, okay? We are all manifesting together. Either that or I'm going to fall so far flat on my face. It's going to be like I'm going to travel. You know, you know what I'm talking about? Like when people run and then they trip and they don't just fall flat, like they have just road rash all over their entire body because they skid. That's what's going to happen to me in Australia if things don't actually work out. We're going to travel real far and be bruised and could cause permanent damage, honestly. But we're here for it. We're going to record the entire thing because it's either going to be epic, a miracle for us all to witness collectively, or I'm going to crash and burn. And honestly, either way, good content. I really hope it's the first one, but 50-50. Could flip of the coin, really, on that one. Okay, couple of housekeeping items before we get to today's episode. Number one, in my episode last week, I said that I was going to have an entire section on goal setting. Not sure where that went. I thought I added it to the episode, and then I just uploaded the episode very last minute because I had a trip to Disney I had to go to, so I wasn't able to listen to it all back through. But when I finally did, I was like, oh, interesting. We're missing the entire 15 to 20 minute segment that I had intended to add on there with Abby. And I mean, I've looked, not very hard, but I have looked and I'm trying to find it. So I will add that in someday soon. I'll let y'all know when that happens, when it's added in. It'll be updated on the Instagram when that episode is fixed. But for now, you just get our random conversation about the Notes app, which was still fun. But yeah, not sure where the actual content I meant to upload went. This is a single woman show we're running over here with no paid employees. So stuff like this is gonna continue to happen until I get an editor in here and somebody else doing this job. Until that time, mistakes are gonna be made, and we're all just gonna deal with it together with a laugh, a giggle, a sigh, and we're gonna move on to today's episode because, honestly, that's a problem for another time. I'm dealing with a lot, all right? I have a lot on my plate, and I don't have time to go back and edit that episode at this current moment, but I will have lots of time in a week, so that'll get figured out, don't you worry. But today's episode, I'm so excited about it. We have an incredible guest, as always. I mean, I'm not bringing duds on here, okay? We have amazing people, and today you get to hear from the 2024 National Level 4 Pole Champion. Pole dancing, if any of you are unfamiliar with just the abbreviation of pole. So exciting. I'm genuinely so happy and honored that she came on the pod because she is a busy woman, and you're going to find out why. She is who we all could strive to be. She is amazing, and I just loved our conversation that we had. I hope, as always, it is inspiring to all of you, and hey, maybe this time around, listening to this episode, it might inspire you to start pole dancing, or at least to go try a class out, maybe do some lyra, some chair dancing. Guys, this is something that I have had such a passion for a few years now. I have really found my home in pole dancing and in other apparatuses that they usually teach at those studios. I've been a chair dancing teacher for over a year, and I'm so sad to leave all of my students when I go to Australia, but we have already looked up a pole dancing studio. Don't you worry, I have it ready to go. I'm gonna go and pitch myself to them and be like, hey, do you need a chair dancing teacher? Because I would gladly trade you a chair dancing class taught once a week for a membership to your studio, because I can't afford a membership to the studio. So we're going to try and work out that deal. Stay tuned for how that goes. Okay, I think that's all the housekeeping that I have for you. Let's get started. Welcome to Life According to Nikki. Are we kidding? how we know each other.
My name is Paige. I am a pole dancer. That's why I'm here on this podcast. But beyond that, I'm also a medical student. So I'm in my third year of medical school. I also have a master's degree in athletic training and sports medicine and a degree in neuroscience. So I like brains and I like bodies and I like learning how they move. I'm a retired gymnast and a retired collegiate cheerleader. So lots of upside down experience in my life. And I've been really happy to translate that over to pole and mostly pole, but pole and aerialist arts as an adult. Currently, it keeps me sane in my life because I am really busy, but I love it. And I met Nikki while we were dancing at the same studio. I don't know, how long was that ago? A couple years, a year and a half, maybe?
Yeah, okay. I was wondering when you started pole because I feel like we maybe started around the same time.
Yeah, I started spring of 2022. So it was about 2.5 years ago.
Okay, yes, and I started January of 2022.
Okay, so we started like right around the same
Same
time,
time.
which is
And
so cool.
and now I'm still very casual and just doing my best, which I love.
I love
And
that.
you are now a national champion.
That sounds a lot more dramatic than it is, but yes, but also, I mean, you got to account for the years of gymnastics and training. Like the growth plan is different when you have such a different starting point. And we'll talk about that because I feel like we've got questions
Yes.
about that later. And it's something I really feel passionate about. So I'm excited to have a discussion on that. But I love casual pole dancers because
Yes.
sometimes I wish I could do it that casually and I can't. And I'm okay with that. It's me, that's my life. But when people are like, I just love dropping into classes once in a while, I'm like, good for you. I'm so glad that you don't let this run your life like it does mine. But I'm also glad that it does run my life because it brings me so much joy.
I absolutely love it. And yes, we are going to talk all about your journey into pole. And I am just going to get to brag about how amazing it is to be in a class with you.
You're so
Because,
kind.
girl, like literally, just sometimes when, I can't lift myself up, especially in the very, very beginning, and I'd be like tired because it's a workout, I would just kind of like, take a break, take a breather, and I'd be like, I'll just watch Paige.
Oh my gosh,
My
it is a huge
aspiration.
workout. You're so kind. It is a huge workout. But honestly, I love that. And I love that the pole and aerial community overwhelmingly is like so supportive. Everybody has their own journey, but also this is not, I don't know, this is not high school basketball or volleyball where it's like if you're not the top 5 or 6, you're not going to be on the court. Like nobody cares. Like this is a personal journey for everybody. And I do that too when I take classes or when I see people on the internet, I'm like, wow, that is so good. I'm just going to watch them because I can't pull today. I can't do it. I'm done. I'm shot. I'm all good for the day, but happy to always cheer other people on and see their success.
Oh, I'm so excited for what we're going to get to. But first, we have to take a stop off. And I got to know what you've been watching. What are you into? What have you been watching? What have you been reading? Are you like, what's your media consumption like?
Okay, so this has been the part that I've been the most stressed about talking about.
Okay.
Ironically, you're like, we're doing this nice little get to know you. And I'm like, oh no, what do I talk about? So I do love to read.
Ooh.
However, medical school limits my reading capacity
Mm.
because I read so much. Practice questions, textbooks, example cases, research papers. I do not leisure read, and I have not in a long time because of that. And it's again not that I don't want to. It's not that I don't have a to be read list and an entire bookshelf next to me, like an entire bookshelf full of books because I do love them. But I haven't read, like, I truly have not read anything recently. I just borrowed Anna Karenina from one of my classmates because I've never read it. But I'm very much more into some of the classic literature. I have not dipped my toe into romantasy yet, even though that is wildly popular.
It
So
is.
reading, not so much.
Okay, wait.
I,
Question
oh yeah.
though, follow-up
Mhm,
question,
mhm.
because I mean, whatever you have been reading, you've been reading case studies and stuff. Is there anything fascinating that you have learned recently that you would just like to share?
Yeah. A lot of my reading recently has been for my own research, my own research paper that I'm working on, and it's about glycemic control, so sugar control in patients with post-concussion syndromes and symptoms. So long-term, like neurological issues after having a brain injury and trying to track their glycemic control. We know that glycemic issues have implications in migraines, so now we're trying to take that data and find patients that exhibit the migraine type symptoms with a previous head injury.
Okay, now that is fascinating.
So that's a research paper that I'm working on. I'm working with a couple different people from a couple different schools on putting things together, and it's been fun. It's been a little on pause while I've been on my surgical rotation since I've been in the OR so much, but I do enjoy the process of thinking about that. The actual writing of the papers, not so much.
Mm. Are you a researcher? Like, do you prefer more the research side? Do you like being in the OR? Like, where do you like being?
So the reason that I did medical school and not a PhD is because I am not a research girly. I do it begrudgingly, and because it is helpful for learning process for sure, and it'll be helpful for matching into residency. To be fair, I'm also not a surgical girly. This is just it was a required rotation for school. I am very much more clinic, and I do like procedural based things, but the operating room is not my long term goal. However, I had a phenomenal rotation. I was with an ENT group, but I also snuck into some ortho surgeries, some general surgeries, and also neurosurgery, even on my last day, which was all very cool. I love the learning process. I am a forever student. I'll be a forever learner, just not where I want to focus all of my time eventually.
Understandable. I mean, as someone who is not interested in the thing, I'm like, no, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, everybody has their things. You meet people that are PhDs and that are researchers, and oh my goodness, they love it. It is like, it is their thing, it is their jam. They really enjoy it and they enjoy the process and they love that. Yeah, my master's degree was even clinical. I had to do research projects, but I did not have to do a thesis for that. So,
Oh, see, that's nice. And see, I love a good research.
yeah,
Like,
well, good for you.
oh, get me some studies. Let me like read through those. Let me read my own thoughts. I do like that. So I hate school, even though I'm going to get my master's in January. But, a couple years from now, who knows? Maybe I'll start my PhD. I'll be like the person with a PhD that's like, don't go to school, kids.
Yes, exactly.
It's a scam.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I am on my 10th year of higher education, 10 of 11. And I'm like, did I really need 3 degrees? Like, did I really have to do that to myself? But no, it's good. It's worth it. You just have to recognize that the difficulty in the work,
Oh
it's
yes.
there.
Before I interrupted you on your book thing,
No,
you
you're
were gonna go,
fine.
you were gonna switch to something else.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I also can't hold still. And so watching TV and movies is not really a thing for me, though I'm a sports girly. That's what I watch is actually sports.
Really?
Yes, I love sports. I don't know. It just is who I am. My dad loves it. I grew up with it. Siblings all played sports and whatnot. So
Mhm.
lots of football. Also loved watching the Olympics this summer. So the only show that I'm current with watching is Dancing with the Stars because not only was I a gymnast growing up, I coached competitive men's gymnastics in a past, life
Life.
several years ago. And I loved it. And one of my favorite things to coach was pommel horse because I could not do it. And it was amazing to me that I could still teach it and still drill it into my kids. And then when I say men's gymnastics, it was the men's team, but they were little men, little cute, little 8-year-old men. But anyway, so watching Steven Nedorozic nail pommel for the chance for the US to get their first bronze medal in
Yeah.
forever was amazing. And I mean, I'm also a dancer. And so when him and Alona were put on Dancing with the Stars, I was like, I have to keep up with it. So that is the only thing that I've currently been watching. And that kind of is fun because it kind of pulls all of my sports and my dance together. And I love my Rubik's Cube. And he's like a huge nerd and like always solves his Rubik's Cube. So I struggle to keep up with the TV things. There's very few series that I've seen all the way through. I think my favorite's probably Breaking Bad, which is not new, but so immaculately written, portrayed, delivered, everything all the way through. I've watched that when I was like taking organic chemistry, and so I actually understood the chemistry behind it.
Oh,
Because
cool.
nerd. But anyway, but like that's old news, so been a long time coming. But anyway, so that's a little bit. That's about it for me
For
for
what you've been watching.
media. Like yeah, for
Yeah.
like leisure media and not even non-leisure media. We talked academics, which is amazing.
I enjoy seeing like how they spend their time because that's how I spend my time. Like that is
Mhm.
my leisure time
I
is
love that.
watching things. So I yesterday I have a whole list on my phone of like what I've seen recently. I have an entire app devoted to this.
Amazing.
Yesterday, I went and saw Wicked in
Oh yeah,
theaters.
it's good.
Phenomenal.
Amazing.
And I'm not, have you seen Wicked before?
So I haven't. I do enjoy like musical productions. I was in
Mm,
London this summer. We saw Phantom over there, saw the Book of Mormon over there. Like we went and saw, like we went to the theater, we went and saw a couple things, but
yeah.
I've never seen Wicked.
I've only ever seen it one time when I was like 13, and I remember it being amazing, but I don't remember like any of the plot. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of went in, I felt a little blind to the
Mm-hmm.
movie. And I'm not a huge theater girl. Like I enjoy, like you, I enjoy a good production,
Right.
get Greatest Showman. Like I'm here for that.
Right. When it's good, and I'm happy to like casually participate, but I don't get into the intricacies of it and the nuances and whatnot. I'm just happy when it looks good and sounds good, like on the occasion that I do decide to step into the musical theater world.
Same,
As an observer,
absolutely
not
same.
as a participant. I can't sing to save my life.
Girl, by the end of this film, I'm like holding onto my blanket, like basically in fetal position, but like upright, like trying to hold my breath because I was like shaking because it was so good. And I was like, this feels magical. It was amazing.
Good.
Yeah, I think everyone should go see it. Here's what everybody needs to know if you don't already know, because this was new information to me. It is part one, it is split into two parts. This is only part one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, that's good to know. I had no idea.
So I found out like last week that it was part one, and then I was like, oh, that sucks. I thought they were doing like a Bridgerton thing where they like release one this month and then like the next one's next month just to make more money. And I was
Oh,
like,
uh-huh.
okay, whatever. So I go watch it. And I was like, you know what? This makes sense why it was two parts because like this was phenomenal. The filming of it, everything. I was like, this must have taken so much work. And my sister-in-law, who's like a big film buff theater girly, she was
Mhm.
sitting next to me in the theater and was like sharing like fun facts with me because I love that. There was a one scene like at the beginning, they like span over all of Oz and there's like this beautiful like flower field. They were real flowers. They planted 9 million tulip bulbs for this movie.
You're kidding.
No. I literally had to Google it after because I was like, that sounds so fake.
Yeah, like that's fake. Like that's not actually a
9
thing.
million,
Like,
please. No,
no.
real. So I'm watching it.
Okay.
I finished the movie. Like everyone's clapping. Like it was, it was so good. I stand up and I turn to my brother and my sister-in-law and I was like, I can't wait for next month. And they were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, when part two comes out. And they said, oh no, it's next
Oh,
year.
oh no,
Next
honey.
year
Like,
it's coming out. Devastated.
oh, I would be devastated too if I had that expectation, but I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know. Now I know. I was talking to my sister about that this week. That we should like everybody said it's good. Like we should go see it maybe over the break while we have some time off of school. And this is one that I really want to see on the big screen.
This one is a theater experience. I
Yeah.
do think this is the worth the $1 million that it takes to, go see a movie nowadays. I do
Right.
think it's worth it.
This one, the only other one that I have seen, I think, in the last year is my parents saw Twisters and said it was amazing, and I went and saw that. So hey, look, I did see a movie recently.
Look at you. And honestly, Twisters was a theater experience as well. Just
Totally.
with the music, the surround sound. I felt like that was a thriller movie.
I was
Oh,
scared. I was not expecting that opening scene and like three people die like
die.
right off the bat. And I was like scared the whole rest of the film. I was like jumping out of my seat. I mean, it made it worth it to see Glenn Powell, but
Okay,
I
but we were gypped at the end because they filmed that kiss scene.
I
And
know. So I
freaking
have
Steven Spielberg, the new theater movie to go see is Wicked. My
for
personal
sure.
rating, I do a rating system for my viewers. They're very familiar with it. So my personal rating on Wicked, honestly, 9 out of 10. Like it was amazing. And then I'm gonna go public. We're gonna do 8 out of 10. Just in,
Okay.
for the people that are
Yeah.
just like, I just don't like theater. But it's phenomenal. Everyone go
Okay.
watch it.
Okay. We'll make sure that that happens sometime eventually.
Anything else for this section? Are we ready to move on?
I think we're good.
Starting off, let's talk about how you got into pole dancing. And I also want to know, did you have any preconceived notions? Were you nervous at all? Like, I mean, this is Utah County. Like, was there any sort of like, ooh, what are people going to think about this? Having the dance background and stuff, did that affect things?
My very first introduction were just a couple of bachelorette parties, which I feel like is how a lot of people first even try it. And it was a long time ago, actually, back, I want to say like 6, 7 years ago. I tried pole dancing and I was like, oh, wow, like this is super fun. And kind of in the context of that. But I remember that very first time being in a studio, and it was up in Salt Lake, far from Utah County, just lots of different things in life going on. I think I was still doing my undergrad at the time. I was like, wow, I would love to do this again. I would love to do this more and learn more, but nothing happened. I ended up I had recovered from a brain injury, and that's a whole different podcast. I can link that if you want, but that's a whole
You
nother
have
story.
you have a podcast where you talk about it?
Yeah. I've been on a podcast where I talk about it, and then BYU TV did a story, like a TV story segment on me a few years ago about my brain injury and my recovery.
Okay, we will be linking that.
Yeah, I will link that so that you guys can can see the behind the scenes. Anyway, after recovering from that and whatnot, then I started cheering at BYU where I was going to school. It just like was so busy. Like I cannot even tell you how insanely busy it was to be a collegiate athlete and to finish a neuroscience degree and then start and complete a master's degree while I was an athlete, and then apply to medical school all in the same time. And that's that story. And I'll link that for you guys, or I'll send that to Nikki so she can link it. Anyway, as that came to a close, I had heard that there was a studio in Utah County, so something just closer. And I knew that with going to medical school, I would need to refill the giant hole that collegiate cheerleading and 40 plus hours a week, because sometimes it was going to leave in my life. I needed it to be something individual. I was a flyer, and I loved my partners. I loved my stunt partner, but I just coordination and trying to get together with people. I needed something that was more individual. And I was like, I planned it in my brain for months. Having been a gymnast, it didn't seem like a huge deal to me. I was like, we are taking the uneven bars that I used to swing on, and we were just flipping them vertical. I approached it from a very sport minded idea. And that was my beginning. And I've grown a lot since then. And I'm excited to kind of talk about that a little bit more. But pole was designed to fill the hole that I knew cheer was going to leave. And it has, and more. And I've been so happy with that decision.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I think so often when people hear pole dancing, they just immediately go to like sexualizing, and and I have thoughts on that about, why do we always have to sexualize women in general? Like men do this too, and they are seen as athletes. There's such a sport element to pole. Pole is an incredible workout. Like, do you know how strong you have to be to do pole? Do you know how painful it is on your skin? Honestly, I had like always been intrigued by it. I kind of liked the risqueness of like, oh my gosh, like this would be kind of like badass.
Yeah, and it is. Like, trust me, it's really badass. This is top notch for sure.
Yes, I was like, oh, that'd be kind of like fun. And it was just always something that I liked the community element. What really made me want to do it was I saw videos of a woman who is plus size doing pole, and it was beautiful. Like, she had so much grace, and she was a pure athlete. It was astounding to me that she has this body type that I think would be judged as like not strong, not athletic, whatever. She is so much stronger than you. She is an incredible, beautiful pole aerialist. And I was like, I want to be like her. And I've had body image issues like all growing up. And so I really wanted to make sure that whatever I was getting into for my own physical exercise was not driven by the need or desire to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. So that's what made me gravitate towards pole. Is I was like, I think that this is going to address a lot of the body image issues that I have of like modesty culture that I really disagree with. And I was like, I need to get to a place where I can feel comfortable looking at myself in a mirror with like little clothes on, and to be comfortable being around, honestly, other people in less clothing to kind of help me with my modesty, purity culture stuff.
Oh, totally.
And pole, it was this environment that I found from day one that was so supportive. It was a community that was so loving, and it wasn't comparative at all. Like, everyone's on their own personal journey.
Right.
And I just thought it was beautiful. Yeah, please.
Yeah. And I love that. And just a couple things to add. I feel like most of the world has this connotation with pole dancing and associating it with stripping. And I have to give credit where credit is due. Pole dancing comes from stripping and sex work. Yes. We love them, we respect them, and we are happy for them, because without them, I don't have my sport. I don't have my job, my teaching job. I don't have my happiness. I don't have my hobby. And so I love the love and respect for them and their industry is absolutely there. And people need to know that. But also you need to know that it has evolved into an art, into a sport, and you do not personally have to participate in those elements of it in order to be part of it and to love it and to respect it. But just knowing that that is where it comes from. However, because it has evolved and continues to evolve, you probably should not assume that anybody that says they pole dance is a stripper or a sex worker, because I would say overwhelmingly that is not the case, because now it has evolved so much more into fitness studios and classes and training, and like what you and I have experienced a lot more. But that's always my little caveat and my shout out, because without that industry, it would not exist. And I'm okay with that. But also, I totally agree. Just because you're dancing on a pole or doing strength exercises on a pole, right? A guy gets up and does a flag variation and he's super amazing and strong, and I get up and do one and I'm a stripper. Like that should not be the parallel. And I think that is totally correct. And you make a very, very good point. But at the same time, we have to respect where it came from, because without it, we wouldn't have
be here.
what we have.
No, I really appreciate you saying that, because the root of it and like the beauty and like sensuality in it,
Absolutely.
that it has that side to it.
It evolved from something else, and that's why it is now mainstream, and we have it as, fitness studios. That's literally like yes. That's what most people are doing, is for fitness and leisure activity. But you just, the nod to where it came from, and knowing that influence is still there. I've got 8-inch boots too, and I love them, and they're super fun, and they've only ever seen the inside of a studio. And that's okay. That they don't go anywhere else with me.
What you just said, where it's like they've only ever seen the inside of a studio. Like, I really enjoy, like, I've taken like the heels classes and stuff.
Yes.
And to me, it's been this very safe environment for me to express sensuality, sexuality in a very safe, this is where I feel comfortable expressing this inside a studio. And then I think it's great, because then people can, choose what they want to do with it. If you need a safe environment to like discover that side of you, like it's a beautiful place to do it.
It's like the ultimate safe space. People show up and they don't care whether you've never had any dance or sport or fitness, or what you look like, or your body size, or whether you're a mom with 5 kids, or whether you are a college student with nothing else to do. I have seen it all. I have seen grandmas, and I've seen plus size women, and I've seen former collegiate athletes all in the same room doing the same thing and having a great time. And being able to tap into that, whether it's I just want to be comfortable in shorts and a tank top, or whether it's I want to learn to feel sensual and feel sexy in my own person, and not have this external need of like, it's not about the guys. It's not about the actual sex. It's about feeling sexy and beautiful and empowered and comfortable in our own bodies, in a space where it gets to be totally accepted, and in that space of neutrality of you get to make it what you want it to be. And I've seen people show up to heels classes and do them in socks and turn it way more into like a hip hop style, because that's them and that's what they want to do. Freaking Billie Jean's heels classes. She's the sexiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. For those listening to this podcast, this woman is a plus size woman that's 5'11", and she is phenomenal. She looks like she floats and glides, and I do not dance a single bit like her. And I love and I admire her so much for what she does, because it is incredible and so inspiring. And it's such a unique location. I get asked all the time, oh man, how do I get started? Or I would love to, but I'm not strong enough. I need to get strong and then I'll come. No, this is a sport, an art, an activity that is designed for adult beginners with no experience. Now, don't get me wrong. I started with experience, and it does speed up that beginning trajectory for sure. However, if you come to a beginning class or a level 1 class, nobody expects you to have the strength, the flexibility, the endurance, or the knowledge of how to do anything. And I love to tell people that I've never played a sport with a ball ever in my entire life. And if I showed up to City League softball, I would be so unhelpful and so uncomfortable, because these people know how to like throw a ball, or maybe they've had kids play or anything. If you have no dance and no sport and no gymnastics and no upside down experience, and you come to pole, you're going to be welcomed, and you are going to learn, and we're going to teach you from the ground up. Everybody is strong enough today to come to pole 1. And I say that with literally everybody, because I've seen people do it in a wheelchair, and I've seen people do it with disabilities, and there are so many ways to do it. And it is, when I say, the most all-inclusive adult fitness activity that I can think of. It truly is. Then you get to feel beautiful and sensual and sexy if you want that. You can make it the art if you want that, and you can leave it at the sport if you want that too. I feel like the longer people are in it, most people try to blend them together, and that's definitely what I do. I started it like sport, and now I really, really embrace the art.
I could not agree with you more. Everything you said was so beautifully and eloquently said. And speaking, as someone who has a physical disability, I have nerve damage in both of my legs from a tumor that was in my spinal cord. I have 10% feeling in my legs. I started day one, could not even lift myself off the ground for 1 second at all. Like we were doing climbs, our very first class, because usually classes are structured like a workout. So you stretch and then you're going to do some conditioning for a good like 10-ish, 15 minutes. And then you're going to learn like a combo. These 3 moves. Now you can do these 3 moves like separately, or you can combine them together to be more flowy. But again, exactly what Paige said, like this is designed for people who have never done it. And my very first class, you like put your leg up on the pole, you have one leg up, you have one arm. And then I was trying to put my other foot on the pole to like, be on fully on the pole. Couldn't even do it. And for me, it took me 5 months before I was able to climb the pole. But I remember my very first class, I didn't feel discouraged. I felt so empowered where I was like, I am going to be able to see my progress so clearly in this sport. And I'm here to have fun. I'm here to learn about myself. I'm here to make this what I want to make it in a safe place with people that only support me. And I felt supported from day one. And then it was just so fun. I made friends and I looked forward to going to classes. And when I climbed that pole for the very first time, it was one of the greatest days. Like truly, I have never felt as proud of myself in that way before. It had been so many years. I'd had so many surgeries. I'd had knee surgeries. I had now had back surgeries. I had a diagnosis of like, you are going to be disabled for the rest of your life. So for me to climb a pole, a 14-foot pole.
Yeah.
I was like, I am incredible. I can do anything.
Got chills. That was so amazing. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. Also, for anybody listening, climbing is something we teach in beginning pole because you have to be able to utilize more of the pole than you can just get to from the ground as you start to learn. But it is not an easy thing to do. It is really hard. It needs a ton of strength and a ton of coordination. So we teach it early because it's safe, but it's not dangerous. You're not going to hurt yourself, doing it. You're not spinning upside down or something, but it is not an easy thing to do. And I think people forget how hard it is to actually climb the pole.
Absolutely. And the technique is different because you're not like going from the sides of like your feet together. Like it is a full technique.
Yeah, it is huge technique.
There is just nothing quite like being able to do a full pole climb, seeing yourself at the top, like you're looking down and you're like, I did that. I am strong enough to pull myself up. And then that translated to, I ended up getting a pull-up bar just for my house to like, get some strength and stuff. I was able to do 3 pull-ups. I couldn't believe. I was like, I'm sorry, what? It's amazing what pole can do for your body, strengthening, for your confidence. But it's so fun that you don't even realize how much strength you're gaining.
And that's the part when people are like, I need to get strong so then I can come to pole. I'm like, no, come to pole and you will get strong and you will have fun doing it. If you're already not wanting to go to the gym, and I follow this with the caveat of, I am a gym girly. I'm a weightlift girly. I cross train 3 to 4 days a week in the gym. I have, because that's how I was raised as an athlete. I do that. And I tell people, no, don't come to pole. If you want to do this, come here. Eventually, we might get you to the point where you want to be doing cross training when you've got big skills and big goals and whatever. Yeah. But for most of your basics and your strength, coming to class is going to be what you need and more. You're going to learn the technique, you're going to have fun, and you're going to build strength. And I was always somebody that had like weak little noodle arms, even as a gymnast. Yes, I'm not kidding. And pole made me have a strong upper body, but I had to learn the technique and put in the work. And I love that for you. Also, most of the female population cannot even do one pull-up or even a chin-up, but 1 pull-up or chin-ups. The fact that you can do 3 is like pretty freaking amazing. That's huge.
I had written down all my goals of like, what do I want pole to be for me in the beginning? And of course that's evolved.
I love that.
But at the beginning, one of my biggest insecurities was my arms. I always would like crop my arms out of photos. I felt really insecure about like, oh, my arms are so big and so whatever. I had just like a lot of like body dysmorphia around my arms. I decided, okay, I want to, because I take these sentences of like, I hate my arms. And I was like, let me rewrite this. And I don't want it to be like, I like my arms. I want it to be a word, an adjective of like how I feel about it. I don't want to change the look of it. And so I wrote, I have strong arms as my like sentence in my goal book. When I look at my arms now in photos and I have that moment of like, oh, my arms they're not how I wish they looked. The thought comes in so fast to replace it of like, but those arms can do 3 pull-ups.
3 pull-ups. Yeah.
Those arms can climb a 14-foot pole. Like, what are we talking about?
And I think that's a really appropriate response. And I think that change is not always bad and reframing is not bad. And for me, my body now is very different than when I was an athlete. Like I was a D1 athlete And I had a strength and conditioning coach, and I had a skill coach, like my sport coach, and I had a nutritionist, and I had all of these resources on hand. And I am happier with how my body works and performs now than I was then. Part of that is growth and acceptance and learning. And the other part is having your own agenda and not having to follow what a team is doing and say, hey, if I don't feel like doing something today because my body hurts, I don't have to. But being able to recognize and listen to your own body, and we'll talk about that later, is really important. But also reframing. We live in a visual world. We live in a world where you look at things on the internet. And I love one of the things you said earlier, that you wanted to do a sport or an activity, or incorporate your fitness into something that was much more functional rather than visual. And when people ask me why I train so much, I train for functionality. Oftentimes, because of what I'm asking my body to do, I get an aesthetic that a lot of people like and that I don't dislike either. I have a body that looks pleasing to what a lot of people think that I should look like as a pole dancer, or just as a female that's in fitness and looks good. Sometimes people ask me specifically, how did you get this to look this way? And I said, honestly, I've never focused on that. My focus is on a skill. My focus is on a routine. My focus is always on functionality. And I have friends that compete in bodybuilding, and there it's almost the exact opposite. They do exercises specifically to make their body look a specific way. And it's its own sport. It's its own thing. And I love it. And I think it's amazing for people. But I care way more about what my body can do than what it looks like. And not that I don't care what it looks like, because that's also, we're allowed to have that be important to us as well. But I, and hopefully others, should try to not let it be the driving factor of fitness, of our sport, of our exercise, of the things that we do. Because in my mind, the functionality of what can my body do for me matters a lot more than what does my body look like.
Yes. Snaps to that. Yes. Amen. Hallelujah. Loved that. Next question I have for you, your journey to competition. Give us a little bit about, like, what was that competition like, and what was it like to win? Because you won the 2024 national competition for, was it level 4?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, coming in as, that was your very first time competing.
Yes.
Just give us a little bit about that.
About a year into pole, I realized that I was wanting to maybe compete. I didn't know how. I didn't know like what was going to, like what that would entail. So last Christmas time, New Year's time, I set a goal to compete at one competition in the year. Now, there's a lot of things to balance between medical school and like national board exams and studying and rotations. And so when I finally knew my schedule a little bit more, the only competition that fit for my schedule was the national competition in Orlando, Florida. And I was like, really, like, we're going to just go big for the first one, I guess. And how pole works is, for that national competition, if levels 1 through 4 are considered amateur, level 5 is considered professional. So level 4 would be the top level amateur. And there are some restrictions on a couple of types of skills you can do, but not very much. It's mostly some release and twisting moves and regripping on the pole. Other than that, all of the flexi, all of the bendy, all of the strength skill, everything else you can do that would be equivalent of that professional category. But I'd never competed before. And to go compete in the professional division there, to do level 5, you actually have to compete and win a different level 5 competition within the 12 months preceding that. Oh. So I knew for sure that like there was no way, but I also didn't want to be in a position to get disqualified or feel like I was sandbagging myself, because I am aware of the fact that I do have some impressive skills in my bag of tricks. Anyway, I chose a song that meant a lot to me, and I chose some skills that meant a lot to me. And we put together this routine, and we had to do it kind of fast because of my board exams and a family trip going on. And when I say that I was terrified, that is true. And I am the person, I'm a competitor. I like that push. I really do. It was really, really good for me, but I was nervous. I mean, I don't think I had successfully done a full run through of my routine until that week before, because it was so hard. It was that hard. And I got to competition, and oh my gosh, I'm such a stressor, and I'd never been, right? And I'm in Florida. I'm like halfway across the US. I'm so far away from home. Everybody was really, really nice. I made amazing friends while I was down there, and my routine went well. It did not go perfectly. I actually had a little slide in my very opening, which is funny because I chose that opening because I was good at it. And I had a moment while I was competing that I was like, wow, I'm really frustrated with myself for like messing this up, because it meant so much for me. And I was like, I had this thought of like, wow, this isn't going to be my winning routine. And it was a minute when I watch it back, it felt a lot bigger here, like in my
Yeah.
mind than it really did in real life. Like when it happened, I had this moment of like, wow, like I'm so bummed that this is not going to be my winning routine. At the same time, I thought, well, but like, what else do I have to lose? Like I already kind of messed up. So just go all out, like do your best, make it. And the rest of my routine was really quite good. And when I got my judges' comments back, they were like, well, the only reason we knew you messed up was because of your face. I was like, oh, dang it. But when they posted the results and I saw my name at the top of the list, I started crying because my goal in competing was not to come out and win. My goal in competing, and I wrote these down in a notebook, was my first one was to do a clean routine. And I did that. It was clean. I didn't have a big major fall. I didn't miss a skill or whatever. I had a minor slide. My second was to make one friend. And I made so many friends from all over across the states. And then was to have fun. And I did all of that. It was amazing. Like our podium, the girls that took second and third with me, one of them is an ER doc and the other is a dental student. And so we were just like so excited. We're all talking about how pole is like our happy place. It's our break from school and work. I had some really nice comments from the judges. One of the judges, I did not know she was judging. I followed her for a long time. I really admire the way that she poles. She's one of my favorite pole artists. And I saw her and I was telling her after she competed in the pro show, I was like, oh my gosh, like, Kira, you're amazing. And she looked at me and she goes, Paige, I cannot wait to compete with you in level 5. And that meant a lot to me that she knew who I was. I was like, you know who I am? She's like, I know who you are. She's like, sweetheart, you won. Like I judged you and you deserved to win that. And that made me feel like so incredible to have somebody that I look up to know who I am, recognize me, and say that to me. That was just huge for me. And to the point of competing 5, once you win a division, you have 12 more months to compete in that level, just in case you were signed up for other, competitions or something. And then you are essentially kicked out or moved up into that next one. However, I will not be competing level 4 again. I went in and I won the national competition, and that wouldn't feel like honest to me to continue competing in that level. I am out of 4 and into 5, but it was a hugely amazing experience, and I just loved it. It's probably the highlight of my 2024.
Oh my, that just made me emotional, honestly. It was so beautiful just to like hear your journey to that, and also the podium. Just, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I love to hear what people are able to accomplish and the goals that people set and what your goals were. I mean, that is, I feel like what we should be seeking, right? Is like connection with other people, fulfillment for ourselves, and like having fun and feeling this sense of accomplishment and
Yes.
doing something that we're proud of, like that clean
Yes.
routine, like working hard at something. And of course, the cherry on top is that you did win.
Of course, I won't pretend to be upset about that, but
Right.
honestly, I went in wanting to do well, and I went in with realistic expectations of I've got some skills in this routine that are above and beyond what they would expect for this level, and that was good. I knew that was good, but also it's an art. It's not scored like gymnastics where this skill gives you this many points and this skill gives you this many points. It's still very much an art form, so your difficulty is factored in, but your execution and your artistic elements are also huge components. I was so stressed. I went and knew absolutely nobody there, and I left with people that I feel like I could call up and ask to come stay with them for a weekend, and they'd say yes. And if that doesn't speak to the pole community in general, then I don't know what will. And it was just a phenomenal experience. And to answer your next question, which I know is coming, I will be competing again. I'm currently looking at early March. So now that I compete level 5, if I want to go back to nationals, which I would like to, I have to compete and do very well in another competition that company hosts throughout the year. So I've picked a song so far.
Can we know what it is?
Well, I'm debating between
Surprise,
two.
surprise.
However, I already know my Spotify Wrapped for the year. My number one song will be "Hold Me Down" by Halsey, because that is what I competed to. I know that she will be my top artist, and I know that album Badlands from 2015 will be the top album as well, because I listened to that album, very much embodied what I was trying to bring to the stage, and so I had to pick between several of the songs. I listen to that song now and I get extreme anxiety and stress, and it makes me want to throw my phone out the window of my car. So I don't listen to that one anymore, and that is the curse of competing, is that you will and performing just in general, is that you will hate the songs that you choose. So don't choose anything that you love too much, because you will hate it afterward.
Oh, that is such good advice. the last thing I want to talk about is I see that you take private lessons and stuff. Do you have one
Yes.
coach? Do you go for many?
I currently mostly train with one coach. Her name is Ren Amelia. She's amazing. She's a former national champion as well. And she trains with people all over the US and she does choreography for competition. She did my competition routine. I would not have been able to do that without her. And she is phenomenal at what she does. She's been in this for more than a decade and she teaches all levels. I have seen her teach beginner, like brand new introductory, like I'm too nervous to go to a studio. And so I just want like absolute basics all the way up through other professional competitors, which would be me. And she teaches way more than just me. People do like Zoom lessons with her from across the United States to compete because
Wow.
she is legitimately one of the best.
Oh,
And I am
wow.
so lucky that I get to go to her studio here in Utah. Like I'm just lucky that she's here.
And speaking of teaching, you do teach.
I do teach.
Talk about that really quick of going from student to teacher and where can the people find you? I will tag all of the things that you're mentioning and like the studio that you're at, which I love. I've been to
Jade
incredible.
X, it's the best. Yes. Okay. So actually, I was really resistant to teaching. I've been a coach before. I've coached gymnastics. I've coached men's gymnastics, women's gymnastics, competitive cheerleading. I've taught some dance for a little bit, lots and lots of tumbling, so many private lessons. I specialize in teaching tumbling private lessons, including for dancers and cheerleaders. So lots of aerials, standing back tucks, full twisting, back flipping, like lots of really intense things. And when I was first approached about teaching, I was like, I don't really want to do it because I wanted pole to be for me. I'm selfish. I was like, I'm in school right now. And I was afraid if I give myself to teaching and I love to go all in on things, that I would lose the passion and the desire and the drive to train for me. And so I did resist it actually for quite a while, despite having really good, extensive coaching background. However, eventually it happens. I mean, sometimes the need for instructors is there and the need for people that are passionate are there. So currently I teach at Jade X Fusion Fitness, which is in South Utah County in Spanish Fork. And if you're in like any part of Utah County, it's not that far. Like if you could just hop on the freeway, it's super close to the freeway. It's amazing. I only currently teach right now on Saturdays. I teach a pole 3 class and I teach a handstanding class because that is my specialty. The handstanding is all levels friendly. We do headstands and other variations and a lot of mobility and conditioning because that is what is needed to be able to hold a handstand. Participants that come regularly have seen huge strength and flexibility gains, especially in their shoulders from classes. So I love that. I do teach a 1.0 class on the first Saturday of every month. We do a bring a friend day, so you can actually bring a friend for free if one of you signs up for class. And I do add in a 1.0 whole one class on that Saturday. So first Saturday of every month, I am teaching beginner if you want to take from me. I would teach more pole if I wasn't in medical school and super, super ridiculously busy. But that's another part of my life that takes up most of my time.
It's gonna be so cool. I was just thinking in my head, you're perfect for that because you literally have like the medical background to be able to be like this muscle and this thing and this body part and this is how this works. I love that you're able to connect these two worlds of yours and these passions together so seamlessly.
I call my handstand class in the morning. My students know I'm like, sorry that you get science class with Paige at the same time because it is. I TA'd and helped teach a kinesiology and biomechanics class while I was in my master's. So this is home for me, and that's why I nerd out about it, and that's why I do it. I mean, I love teaching. And then other than that, I do teach private lessons as well. I have a few people that get into my schedule.
That is so fantastic. I love seeing women especially like follow their passions. And I always find it so fun that women, we always seem to help other people. Like we're passionate about this thing we nerd out on and we love. And then I feel like women are always so good at like channeling that out and being like, okay, how can I help others? I don't know. I love like the womanhood of it all.
So my mom teases me, and because I'm always telling people about pole, like everywhere I go, the staff in the surgical office I was just in, they found out, and I was like, "Come to class. This is what I do." And they were like, "How? Like, how do you even have time to do this?" But it has made such a big impact on me in my life. It's been one of the most welcoming communities I've ever been a part of. I've grown so much as a person. I feel like I'm a kinder and more empathetic person, and I spread the gospel of pole. Like truly, like it is just something that has brought so much light and happiness and goodness into my life. I want people to see that and I want people to experience that and I want them to have the opportunity to make that decision for themselves despite stigma and despite some of those other things we talked about. And guess what? If you come and you try it and that's just not your cup of tea, I'm not going to be offended. But how could I not share something that's brought me so much joy in so many different parts of my life and friends and community? Like, I've been in Utah for 9.5 years now, and pole has brought me some of the most authentic friends I have ever had in my entire life. I love that. And that, I know that's not the case for everybody. And I know it's not everybody's perfect cup of tea, but
Yeah.
why not at least try? I mean, it's just a class.
Yes. I mean, just right now, you and me, I mean, we met in pole,
I
and
know.
it is just the salt of the earth humans that I'm meeting
It
at
is.
pole.
And like I cheer like anybody I've met in pull on, anytime I see anything about their job or their life or whatever, I'm like, you go. There's so much less comparison than I think anybody imagines that there would be in this kind of area. There's
Yes.
not. Like, you go to classes and people are overwhelmingly excited, and
Yeah.
overall an overwhelmingly positive experience top to bottom.
All right, Paige, to end us, we're going to climb up onto the hills we will die on. What have you got for us?
I would say the overall general hill that I'm going to die on, and I'm going to tie this into a couple things that are pretty pole and education specific, because
Love.
that's what I do, is that the small improvements matter. And becoming the best version of yourself is incremental, and it is not massive. The small things add up, and that small changes leave lasting results. If you want to be healthier so that you feel better, and I always want functionality. I'm a functional girly. I do not lift for aesthetics. I do not pull for aesthetic. I want my pull to look good in the sense of the movement quality and the technique. But for my body, I lift and I pull train for functionality. And whether your goal is functionality or whether it's aesthetics, and it's allowed to be both, you can want to look better and feel better and develop skills. These are not mutually exclusive things. But start with something that is manageable. People get really upset that they're like, well, I can't go to the gym 3 times a week and class twice a week. Go to class once a month and change one thing. Maybe that's go on a walk in the morning. Maybe it's go on a walk at night. Maybe it's take the stairs instead of taking the elevator. Maybe it's hold a plank because you can't do a push-up. Maybe it's hang from a bar because we can't do a pull-up. And maybe it means just starting with one of those things and not 12 of them, because those things, they do matter so much more. And you will feel better and you will feel more accomplished by just setting one small goal and not let it derail your life when you mess that up or when you
Yeah.
miss a day. Oh goodness, I have days where I do not want to train. I have days where I do not want to do the school. I have days where I don't train. And I have days where I do not do the school that I should. And that's okay. And I had a conversation with a friend a little while ago about the difference between devotion and dedication and discipline. I am disciplined. I go to school every day. I'm disciplined. I do my strength exercises. I do my conditioning. I do my pull training. But I am disciplined to do it because I am devoted to the outcome, because I am devoted to the positive impacts and positive change it makes in my life. Discipline feels like a negatively connotated word. And so I love thinking about it as in devoted. And you don't have to be devoted to being a top performing pole athlete or devoted to being a doctor. You can be devoted to say, I want to feel better about my body, whether that's visually or just how I feel walking around every day. And finding something to be devoted to, whether it's I'm devoted to my daily walks or I'm devoted to go to the gym once a week, that's progress. And that's becoming a better version of yourself. And by setting those goals and achieving those goals, you will teach yourself, your body, and your brain that you can accomplish what you are setting your mind to. And then you can start to expand upon those goals. That's where, when you hit those roadblocks, finding coaches, finding people that are experts in that field that truly want to help you, and not these people that sit on the internet and just say, this is the one magic key that's going to solve all your problems. But finding somebody that will help you, whether that's you or somebody outside of your life, look at your life and help you organize your thoughts and help you organize your goals so that you can meet them in a realistic and manageable way.
That was so beautiful. I was relating so much to what you just said with, the starting one step at a time. Like, of course, my goal, I was like, oh, I was watching these pole dancing videos and being like, I want to be like, these professionals, right?
Mm-hmm.
But of course, if I'm thinking that, I would be immediately discouraged. Well, I can't even lift my feet off the ground for 1 second. So I started with one class a week, 1 hour during my week
Right.
in the evening, because I like evenings. I'm not a morning girly. So I was like, I'm never going to do the morning thing. Like now we're putting in two goals, like me waking up
Right.
and going to do something. No.
Right.
I'm just going to add it to something I already want to do and like to do. And I'm motivated. And then I upped it to, after I think 3 months, I was like, okay, I'm going to go twice a week now because there's another class that I really, really, really want to take. And so it felt very motivating. And then all of a sudden I wanted to take a chair dancing class, and then I wanted to take lyra classes, and then I was starting to cross train because it like upped my
Mhm.
strength on pole, and my friends were there because now I had this community. And then I was up to like 7 hours a week with,
Right.
and it wasn't a burden, or like, it was so fun. I was looking forward to all these activities
Yeah.
and to pole dancing. And I think that that's how we get someplace, is exactly what you said. Start with that one tiny little thing, very, very, very manageable. And you're naturally, I love what you said about devotion. Like, your devotion to it will grow because of the joy that you're receiving, and it will make those like progressions easier.
And I think that's the other part that we talked about earlier, is that if you want to do something, whether it's an art or a sport, like whether you want to paint or whether you want to pole dance, if you don't know how to paint at all, don't go try to do some advanced paint workshop technique that's not going to help you. Go to a beginner class and start learning. If you want strength and you're uncomfortable and don't want to go to the gym, you won't have a fun time going to the gym. Start with the beginner class, right?
Mhm.
And again, you can apply that to anything else, anything you want to do. You want to feel better, you want to exercise more, you want to get stronger. Find something that will help you achieve that in a way that is small to begin with, in a way that is going to make it enjoyable. Again, finding that fun. Your story was so perfect of, I started with just once a week and then I increased. So finding that one thing to start with and say, I want to try this for 30 minutes once a week for 4 weeks, and then reevaluate and see how it goes. Time will pass no matter what. You don't have to start today. The motivational speeches, oh, you have to start today. Don't wait for Monday, whatever. Make the goal and start when it makes sense for you. But know that if there's something you want to work on and want to achieve, starting small is much better than not starting at all.
Yes, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And I think this actually, what you just said, links so well to the hill that I'm going to die on,
Tell me
which
about it.
is adult hobbies are severely underrated and like can't be talked about enough of what this will do for you as an adult. I want to make sure to recognize like not every child was able to have the resources to like go to sports and like do these
Of
things.
course, absolutely.
But like the community in which I live, the vast majority of people had like piano lessons, and they were in sports teams, and they were in social clubs. And then also the religious aspect of the community that I grew up in, you had like, young women's and mutual activities and blah, blah, blah. You like had so many things that you were involved in as a kid that like gave you purpose and gave you friends. And it allowed you to grow your talents. It allowed for that. And then you reach adulthood. And I feel like so often all of that's now gone, and
Yeah,
you're like, what do I even have a hobby? And so then we spend like 10 hours a day on our phone, right?
exactly. Yeah, no, you're totally right.
And then we start feeling like guilty because we don't have enough self-development, and like we hear all these like motivational podcasts and we're like, we should be doing something, and then we just like take on the guilt and we don't actually change.
Right, right. And you see it all the time. Oh my gosh, this person runs a business and they do this and they do that. And people tell me all the time, oh my gosh, you're so accomplished. You're in medical school, you pole dance, you do this, whatever.
Yeah.
And for me, I tell them I do it to keep my sanity. But I've also been in the boat where I was really sick with a brain injury and I did nothing for a long time. And I know what it's like to do nothing, and that's horrible. But I also know what it's like to not have that community. When I wasn't cheering and I wasn't pole dancing, I didn't feel like I fit in with adults because I didn't like the same things they did. Or I didn't care about the same things that they did, or we didn't have anything in common. And it's so hard to make friends. It's so hard to make authentic connections.
Oh, yes.
But sports and hobbies do that for you. Finding that's important. And if it's City League softball, go for it, my girl. I love that for you. It doesn't have to be pole. It doesn't have to be my thing, but it's pretty darn cool.
But
And we'd
pole's
love
pretty
to see
great.
you there.
Yes. Like, get yourself a hobby. The thing that you always wish that you could have done growing up, right? If you
Heal
wanted
that inner child. Go back
Yes.
to the things that excited you as a kid. And for me, that was going upside down and flipping around. And so I'm back and I love it. And I'm the most authentic version of myself I've ever been. And I love that for me. But if that's not you,
Yes.
if you didn't love flipping around on the playground when you were a kid and you loved, I don't know, throwing a ball instead, find that sport, find that activity. If you were the kid that was just loved drawing, take art classes, because you don't have to be a professional to enjoy it. You don't have to be the best in the world to do it and practice it and have it give meaning and happiness to your life.
Oh, yes.
Such a good hill. I'll
Yes.
die on that one with you.
Yes, I'll climb up any day of the week. An adult hobby, it fuels that creativity, it fuels your
Yes.
self-development, it makes
Yes.
you happy. And the cool part about being adult is you can choose how much or how little you want to be involved in it and what this means to you. You don't have the pressure of a parent or like whatever maybe things that
you got to
had.
practice the piano, you got to do this, you got
Mhm.
to do your things, right? You don't feel like doing it, don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah. But
Give yourself the break.
yes. And when you want to, you spend your money on it. And so you're invested in it. And you're like, I am here because this is something I wanted. My roommate just the other day, like, I was asking her, what are you doing today? And she was like, I'm taking a glass blowing class.
Phenomenal.
And the other thing linked with it, because I am single, I think the fact of not wanting to do something alone stops a lot of people. And listen, I get that. I get that. But I'm never going to stop myself from doing what I want to do just because I don't have like a safe person to go with, because I believe fully in my heart that like I will be able to meet somebody there. If I'm opening myself up to that opportunity, you're opening yourself up to new connections rather than always relying on your old ones to push you. You've got to grow, baby. Like you've got to grow.
I love that. I'm actually
baby
one of
girl.
those weird I love that. I'm actually one of those weird people that loves to do things by myself. I understand that there's a fear associated with that, but I also understand the immense amount of growth that gets to come with doing things by yourself and on your own time.
And I think we need to take more opportunities to get to know ourselves, because ladies, like if you don't think you are worth getting to know, then start there. You are worth knowing. If you are scared that like no one's gonna like you or whatever, how about start with liking yourself, getting to a place of like self-confidence of course people are gonna like me because I'm worth talking to, and like I have things to say. You're amazing.
You're cool. You're the best.
Exactly. So you got to believe that about yourself. And I think some of the best ways to do that is to pursue those passions, to heal that inner child, to seek after those things to where you discover yourself more. And that's when you start to come more in tune with the truth of like, I am such a cool person. I am someone that other people should meet, and I should meet other people. It just opens yourself up. So adult hobbies, get yourself some.
Adult hobbies, get yourself some, and take your goals slow and let yourself mess up and let yourself make progress and let yourself be proud of small progress, because time will pass no matter what. And progress is way better than perfection. And becoming the best version of yourself happens one step at a time.
And that is the pod today, guys. Oh, thank you so much, Paige. This was so fun.
I love it. This is so good. Thanks for listening to Our Thoughts on Life, because this has been Life According to Nikki.